friends, welcome to another edition of Minimal Monday wrap-up number 70 this week. Holy frick, you guys made it terribly difficult for me to make my decision on who is winning the Fav of the Day award. But before we get to that, I have to make a little announcement. That is, just looking at my calendar here on my iPhone. Woo. I am taking 3 weeks off in May. I'm going back home. So there will not be a Minimal Monday wrap-up on May 6th, 13th, or 20th. So don't even bother posting images because I won't see them, because I'm going home to the good old country and probably unplug for a few weeks and see what happens. I might not even bring my cell phone. I'm thinking of that. So again, let me just recap. May 6th, 13th, and 20th, there will not be a Minimal Monday. I know. I can take some time off, right? So, anyways, so back to this week, and I'll, in the next few weeks, I will remind you all of that there's not a Minimal Monday wrap-up. But anyhow, so this is gonna be a crazy good wrap-up this week. The Fav of the Day award goes this week to, drum roll. You want to make a guess? No? Martin Rack. I give this week's Fav of the Day award to Martin Rack. Martin is a fantastic photographer, and if you follow him, I've been following him. His website has been one of my in my bookmarks for some time now. He contributed this week to a little theme with a monumentally fantastic photograph. This, snow. Let's call it a snowscape, and a foggy, probably on a foggy day, foggy morning. But I mean, that leading line of that pitch black road is pretty awesome. And it leads your eye right through the image. It's an absolutely beautiful image. Very serene, very quiet. Yeah, it's just perfect. Beautiful work. I'm not going to use a lot of words to define this. But it to me, it tells a lot about, or I hope it does tell me a lot about the person behind the camera. It was very close though, because maybe you would argue that, hey dude, that's not minimal. That's just plain good old photography. Sure. The next photograph I'm gonna share with you is pure minimalism, and it's this one by Michael Diblicek. He is continuing his snowscape series, and sometimes the simplest scenes are the best ones. Like he photographed this electricity pole or telephone pole, and it's just 3 things: snow, sky, telephone pole. Done. But it's such a simple image, and it's such an easy image to F up compositionally. But Michael did it, placed it really, really well. I mean, the horizon is not in the middle. It's almost in the middle. You would think it is in the middle, but it is not. And then that pole is not placed on the rule of thirds. So in a sense, Michael is breaking a lot of rules here, which is good. But again, I mean, I used to stay a long way away from these things. I hated telephone poles, and I hated, man-made stuff in my photographs. Until that one day I made the decision to try and photograph one, and that opened up a whole, opened up Pandora's box, and basically was the source of the Vaults series that I have still going on. I haven't worked on it for a bit though, but I'm regenerating my batteries, recharging my batteries. But here, beautiful image, and it shows you that you should be on the lookout for these things, because they can make, if you like geometry in your work, you should look deeper into photographing these poles. This photograph by Quincy Jefferson was on top of my list for a very, very, very long time. Quincy photographed the well-known sea stacks, I think Oregon coast, somewhere around there, in a very, how would I say this? He let him inspire. Quincy was inspired by the light, and he made a decision to photograph these stacks, these big rocks, as silhouettes, and just a reflection of like the symmetry that is in this photograph is really appealing to me. Like, I like the horizon in the middle, and then it's not perfectly symmetrical, thanks to the water in the foreground or in front of the two stacks. So it means that the reflection does not flow into the actual rock. There's some, there's a gap in between those, and it just makes for a very dynamic image, I think. Dynamic photograph, nice deep blacks. I like deep blacks. And there's white too, which is, and we talked about this, good contrast. Love the sky. Like I said, love the foreground ripples. This is a very, very beautiful photograph by Quincy. And this one was, at one point, also on top of my list. A photograph by Deepak Ghosh, last week's winner, I believe. A lot of people would look at this photograph and go like, what the heck is this weird looking, this is such a weird looking photograph. And I admit it is an intriguing square. And it was so intriguing that it was on top of my list for a very long time. Because if you talk about geometry, this is a prime example of using lines in your work. This is basically two rectangles. The sea, the water, and the sky, and then there's this big black triangle sticking into the frame. And Deepak placed that triangle nicely on the horizon line, and it just makes for like, I can see this image pretty large, or well, maybe not pretty large. Let's say like a 15 by 15 ish, not too large, not too small, and it would be an image where people kind of walk past first at first, and then they come back and they would, you know, zone into this because there's so much going on, but it's also very subtle. Like the sky, there's subtle movement in the sky. There's subtle movement in the foreground. It almost looks like a veil of some sort, like a yeah, like I don't know. It's just absolutely ridiculously beautiful work. Awesome work, Deepak. What about this one by Azrin Az? I was lucky I found this photograph because I was not tagged into this post, but nonetheless I found it. Good photograph by Azrin. I like the juxtaposition between the old log in the foreground or whatever it is that sticks out of the water, a little group of, little, I don't even know what that is. Probably plants sticking out of the water, something like that. And the trees in the background with the beautiful, perfect reflection. Good tones, subtle contrast, good sharpness. Yeah, this is top work, top notch work. Beautiful work, Azrin. Thanks for adding this again. Here's an interesting photograph that I added because of, again, we talked about geometry. And here's a good example as well. It's basically same idea, but this is like a horizontal piece. There's lots of horizontal lines going on. Basically two rectangles again, water and sky, which has some amazing clouds, beautiful clouds. And then a long black pier with the beacon at the end sticks into the. It's not a square. It's more 6x7. I wouldn't say it's a 4x5. 6x7ish. No, it's not a 6x7 either. What would you call this? I don't know. Freestyle crop. Let's call it that. It just sticks into the frame, and then that thing pops out on the rule of thirds, and it's pretty much, this is conform the rules. This is following the rules of composition. It makes for a again, it's not as dynamic, but you cannot say anything wrong about this photograph. So good job, Bill Cornies. Sorry, Bill Cornies made this image. Beautiful photograph, my friend. Thank you for adding this. Now, what about this beautiful, beautiful snowscape photograph by Didier Demaret? Again, yeah, this is. Didier has a little exposition going on right now in Belgium. And I've seen a photo of the selected works, and there are some stars in there, man. Like, Didier is a very good photographer, and it shows. This is a pretty interesting composition, I think. Again, just a group of trees in the snowscape somewhere in the middle of nowhere in Belgium, which I didn't know existed. Again, very close to the rule of thirds. Not quite though, but kind of the idea of the rule of thirds. I like the bland sky, but still, there's a sense of light, a sense of illumination in this photograph. Or not really illumination because it's foggy, but the overall, soft box feel of what the light would be on a day like this. Good work, DJ. Thanks for adding this again. What about this photograph by Grant Murray? Holy. Talk about tonality. This photograph has all of them, from the whitest whites to the blackest blacks. Awesome. Love this. Very classic looking, classic feel to this. Almost, I would say, like feels like film with the very creamy midtones. Uh, Again, a square, pretty much cut in the middle by the horizon line. But then on top of that, there's a beautiful, beautiful sky, which almost looks like, I mean, it's a long exposure, but it looks like a lenticular cloud display. But this is not a weather-related video, so don't worry about that. And then a little rock, I think, in the foreground, beautifully placed to kind of anchor the composition down and give it some foreground interest. Beautiful work, Grant. Thank you, my friend. And here's a very interesting photograph of Michael Selmila. Again, a square. This is like the square edition. Everybody is posting squares this week. Talk about a sense of light in this one. And somehow, this almost feels like I'm on a ship. The first thing that comes to mind is, you're gonna laugh. The first thing that comes to mind is Titanic. And it's because of that thing in the foreground. You know, the, I don't know how to call that. You know, where the boats get, anchored around, or the ropes go around it. But it's like, I can fly, Jack. You know what I mean? If you haven't seen Titanic, you're too young to look at these videos. But yeah, it almost feels like I'm on a ship. I'm on at the front of a boat or something. But anyways, interesting way of interesting composition. Again, I like the symmetry. Left and right and left is pretty much the same. Yeah, just I like the horizon line too. Nice black, stark, line. But then again, the clouds and the light itself is pretty awesome. Good processing too, Michael. Beautiful work as usual. Now, what about this by Saram Sundarsan? Long exposure of a rock. Pretty interesting rock. It's like a pyramid of some sort with a whole bunch of birds on. Yeah, good. I mean, this is your classic minimalistic long exposure photography. The usual gradients top and bottom. I kind of miss the horizon line a little bit, but it just makes for a stark image, very simple, practically placed in the middle of the square. Yeah, this is a good image. Like the light on the rock as well. And then finally, this one by Sandra Paolo. Beautiful. I like this. This is more of a 4x5 kind of feel. A color photograph. I think that's the only color photograph in this. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. The only color photograph this week in the wrap-up is by Sandra Paolo. Beautiful hoarfrost covered tree. Good looking tree though. Nice shape. Good setting. Beautiful light. I like the subtle shadow underneath the tree, and then interesting to see you not go for square, but use the extra. What would it have been, like 1/4 extra headroom for the tree to kind of breathe. I like negative space is awesome if you use it correctly, and this is definitely a good example of good usage. Yeah, beautiful, simple photograph. And I'm glad you used color for this. Although situations like this, I mean, often they just scream black and white at you because there's no color involved, or your eye doesn't see any color, but that doesn't mean there's no color. Good job, Sandra. Awesome. Thank you again for you've been adding a lot of photos to, well, you're contributing almost every week, so thank you. Thank you for doing it again this week. And there you go. You're in the wrap up. So that was it for this week. So again, I want to tell you guys something else. Kind of forgot. Anyways. Oh yeah. So Sandra wanted to see my tattoos. I'm not usually, not. It's just, there you go. Tattoos. That's what they look like. Gotta review. A little old school stuff going on there. And maybe I should. I don't brag about these, but Sandra was asking me about it last week. So here's my little fortune teller. She has kind of big boobs. Maybe I should blur this out. No boobs. And then there's the devil riding car. Yeah, and I like, car stuff. So there's my spark plug. And what else? A little old school skull. There you have it. Yep, I'm a rock star. Just kidding. Anyways, so this was the wrap up for this week. Again, you guys are amazing. This was quality work by all of you. Thank you again. Here, this is what I was going to say. Yesterday, by chance, I just saw Joel, his announcement about closing 2 of his communities. It's kind of sad that a few people kind of spoil it for a whole lot of other people, and I simply hope that this little theme does not, what am I trying to say? I hope this theme never has to go through that. That's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I hope we can do this for a very long time, and I think we have something good going. So hopefully we can keep it that way, and I'm not too worried about becoming the most popular theme on Google Plus. I don't care about that, but I do care about the quality, and I do care about my interaction with all of you. So that is far more important than getting 1,000 photographs in every week. Even if I only get 20 in, that already makes me happy. So don't worry about this, my friends. Minimum Monday will go on for a long time, hopefully. Or at least that's my mission. Right, so that was it for this week. Maybe I should start thinking about another guest wrap-up person, photographer. Again, we talked about this in the past, so maybe you should give me some more suggestions about who we need to make doing these wrap-ups, who we need to include as a guest curator. Anyways, again, thank you all for submitting your work so generously, and I will see you again next week. Yes.